All right. Back to the semifinal with a cool matchup. I just see that Atraxa has the same ultimate guard case, it seems, as my Rishadan port that arrived today. I like these cases. We need more of them.
They are pretty good, and I feel like they're nicer than top loaders, but I also really don't like having my commander not in a normal sleeve.
Yeah, me too. It's more like for if there's like a card that you don't play for too long. Well, it's something that's not good enough anymore for today's meta game, but it's like a very nostalgic thing. Shoutouts to Martin, Genesis Storm, in a case, for example, and this might be cool. But apart from that, I agree. Yep. So here we have Acererak against Atraxa.
And Acererak has successfully resolved his first combo piece.
Yeah, Carnival of Souls. Both players I faced in the previous matches. So I lost against Acererak. I won against Atraxa. Both difficult matchups.
Yep.
Aererak is a very interesting MBC variant. It's not really an MBC deck, I would say. It features a couple of elements. Of course, like you have the disruption and you have some interaction. Here we see the Grief. That's mana leaked.
But interestingly enough, Grief is the only creature that this Acererak list plays.
Yeah. Really the only one? Okay.
The only one.
That's cool.
One creature in the deck, and it's that Grief.
Yeah, probably you cast it free most often as a second unmask.
Yep. So he's cast it for free twice this game. Oh, no, he cast it before this time, but the first time he cast it for free and I got reprieved.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good tempo play for Atraxa.
True. So Carnival of Souls actually needs the Black Monument in order to work, because I think you always pay a life, right? You always lose a life for the mana you
lose a life and get one mana. Yep.
Exactly. So the Black Monument will always grant you a life whenever you cast a black spell. So that way you have the cost reduction and you don't lose life. While
he also plays a card called Prism Ring, which is a 1 mana card artifact from Magic Origins, which when it enters the battlefield, you choose a color. And whenever you cast a spell of the chosen color, you get 1 life.
Yeah, so, okay. Cool.
If he manages to get his Urza's Incubator into play, or a Heartless Summoning, he can also go off.
Yeah. So here we see Cabal Coffers. Very powerful, especially against control.
Yep.
There's a Mystic Confluence. The best thing you can do is countering or dealing with Acererak. We had that plenty of times, right? The pronunciation of this card. Yeah. Quite difficult. What do we see here? Is this an abrupt decay? I think it is, right? This could be an abrupt decay for the Carnival of Souls.
Yep. Wait, yeah. I'll have a look.
So there is the third Acererak cast.
It is an abrupt decay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems to be successful this time. So he ventures into the second stage of the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. And this should be a leyline binding. I'm not familiar with the new Prosperity artworks, but I think it's a leyline binding.
He doesn't have all the same artworks, because he has the full art original leyline binding.
Okay, so it's not matched with the list. Yeah, that could be the case. Yeah. But I think it's a leyline binding. It makes sense because it says enchantment, I guess. So here we have a Tainted Pact.
That is leyline binding.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Tainted Pact finds Demonic Tutor, and here we have a Cabal Stronghold as well as a Cable Coffer, so we have a bunch of mana. That's crazy. That's crazy.
They're both tapping for 6.
It's the counter spell for Acererak. Relic is actually good. It reduces your commander cost by 1. And the Demonic Tutor could just search for another card to either counter or maybe just finding a way to grind on the game. Maybe
I
some
think the
card draw
Montutor
engine.
usually goes for Dream Halls in these
Yeah, exactly. But
in this deck, but considering
he played his
going for
7th
Dream
land
Halls
already,
is a
right?
bit, yeah, it's a bit dangerous to go for Dream Halls.
Yeah, also against this combo deck, that's what I thought about. Like,
yeah,
because next turn, once the black player successfully position for Kabal
okay.
that might be a fine decision actually. Yeah. Because I think Aererak costs 7 already. Or maybe even 9.
I think it costs 9, yeah.
Yeah, I think it costs 9. He counted it twice. It was once. It resolved once.
Which means that
Not sure.
Aererak can still play it, but it's getting to be in the very expensive territory.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that going through the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, even if it doesn't cost that much mana to do it, if you're not going infinite, it's not very good, right?
Yeah, and especially
Well, no, you don't go through the
usually
Dungeon of the Mad Mage, right?
if you're
That's the one that stops you from.
yeah,
Which one
that's
is
what
it?
I was about to say. So usually you start with the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I think this is the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, right? Maybe I'm not sure. Like this is the biggest dungeon from
Yes, that is
all the
Dungeon of the
dungeons.
Mad Mage. That's in
Okay,
play right
so
now.
this is the one you're usually using whenever you're not near comboing, because you cannot start a second dungeon unless you have finished a dungeon that you already opened. So he needs to
Yes.
finish that one anyways. He drew the Heartless Summoning, which is crazy good. So he has the combo on board. His opponent needs to find something to deal with Acererak. If he can keep it down, that's fine. Otherwise, your Heartless Summoning reduces your commander cost to 1 black. And then he can always tap Acererak in response to the trigger to deal another black mana. And that's creating infinite Acererak casts. And then he can finish.
Which one is it that stops him from bouncing Acererak? Is it Tomb of Annihilation?
I think it is, yeah. So there is another dungeon that in one step drains your opponent.
Yep, it's if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, right?
Yeah,
so he has access to Lost Mine of Fandelver and Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
I think it's the Lost Mine. Actually, I think I have them.
No, he can do Lost Mine. Tomb of Annihilation is the one that he can't do.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, the one that he needs to finish the game.
To finish the
was it Lost?
game,
wasn't it Lost Mine?
There is a room called Dark Pool, which says each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
Yeah, okay. That's
lets you
the
draw
one
cards as well.
So yeah. Showing the Sauron's Ransom. Does not want to offer the Dream Halls, which is okay, I guess. 3 mana, drawing 3 cards. The problem here is, yeah, I mean, if you make like an even pile, your opponent probably takes a Dream Hall plus any other card.
Yep.
He managed to counter Aererak again, and this is something that destroys. Oh, this should be the new Wrath? Could it be?
Yeah, I think that was Wrath of the Skies.
Yes, exactly.
Which lets him. So Wrath of the Skies is a pretty good Wrath because it takes care of artifacts and enchantments as well. Yeah. If you have no energy, then you're paying up to the highest CMC of things that you want to remove.
Yeah.
And if you do have energy, then you can like if you have 6 energy in the pool, then you can pay 2 mana to destroy things up to 6 CMC, which is pretty good in that case as well.
Definitely. And he directly continues with his own artifact, a powerful Shurikai.
Yes. Banned as a commander, very fun deck to play when it was legal.
But also quite obnoxious, I think.
Yes,
Very hard
it's
to
a
handle an
very powerful
artifact
card,
commander. Yeah.
and yeah, it gives so much flexibility. You're making these tokens, which means you can chump block for a very long time, and as soon as you think, okay, that my board position is good enough, then you just get to start attacking with an 8/8. Yeah. So now we see an Atraxa being cast. And it's a very bad sign when the Atraxa is being cast when there's still 3 lands untapped.
Definitely, yeah. He
Um,
picked up Psychic Frog, Baleful Streaks, land, and what was the other card? Memory Lapse, actually.
yeah. So
On the other side of the table, we still try to go. There's a Damnation that's, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not too bad, but then again, there's still Shurikai. And here we have a Demonic Tutor as a
he
follow-up.
also gets to attack with a 7/7 Cactus Preserve next turn if he wants to.
Right.
Which puts him on a 3-turn clock.
So funny when a drawn in a lock looks similar to your Psychic Frog.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is a very difficult match for the Las Ketchup player, as the French players call it. You know why it's called like this? Because of the song Las Ketchup?
Nope.
Asse de he, ha, de he. And it's like because of Acererak, asse de de.
Aha. Okay. Interesting.
Quite a funny one.
Quite a convoluted.
Yeah, exactly.
But like Cheerios or breakfast and things like that,
right,
which
exactly.
don't really make that much sense when you hear them the first time, but
Yeah.
eventually, there's a connection.
So there is a Sheoldred's Edict dealing with the frog, but that seems to be more like an act of frustration. Aererak seems to be far away from being cast. I lost track. Like, is it like, does it cost 13 now?
I don't know
or
if
11,
either
13,
player
something
knows
like this?
how much it costs
I
anymore either.
I hope
That's
they will. I hope they do. But
this seems like a pretty hopeless matchup for Aererak currently.
yeah, definitely. I mean, the deck features a storm line, so there's and you have like 90 minutes to go, so there's not really a reason to scoop now.
Yeah.
Here we see the
But
Yorkville, but
now the storm line is also gone.
Exactly. Now that the Grieve revealed this card, there's probably no reason to continue, and also because most of your combo pieces are in graveyard already, right? We have the Carnival of Souls, the Relic of Legends. There is the Heartless Summoning. So there's not much left.
There's quite the issue will be going off with black mana, because he still has a bunch of price reducers, but he doesn't have. There's Carnival of Souls and Relic of Legends, which are the 2 cards that allow you to actually go infinite.
Yep.
Um,
And that's also something that he realizes, that there's probably not that much of a window, so you can just concede and save some time and try to win the next one. And here we are starting with a Unmask.
and you never know kind of what the experience of each of the players sitting there is, and how much they've played against each other's decks. But for lists like Acererak, there is some strength to the opponent maybe not quite knowing all of the combo pieces and everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's true. And also sometimes, I don't know if there's like a common ground on what's played in Aererak, what's definitely played and what's definitely not played. But back then when I played the deck, I think I did not feature the Tendrils line, because I also don't like it that much if you only play monocolor, because it's very, very expensive in terms of mana. Like, you don't have that many rituals and you need a lot of individual pieces to get there. But I can see why you would include it here. Because on the other hand, if your main plan is not working, and it's very likely that it doesn't work, because Aererak is very, very slow, like, or the overall game plan is very slow, finding your pieces to eventually venture through your dungeons because you cheat some mana is a plan that sounds almost too good to be true in 2024, right?
Yep. And I mean, he's managed to assemble the full combo here.
Again, yes.
His commander currently costs 5 mana, so with the discount 3 mana. And but I also don't think the Atraxa player is just going to let that happen.
Yeah,
So
I think his job
anything
is
kind of stops that.
Yeah, right.
Countering Acererak, killing one of the combo pieces, or destroying one of the combo pieces, destroying 2 of the combo pieces.
No, actually only one because he has
Okay.
he was at CMC4.
Yep. And also, if he just removes Aererak in response to his own trigger, then it also has to get recast from the command zone. So
okay, and this time he decided to venture into a different dungeon.
yeah, so this is the. So I think he gained 1 life.
This should be the
no, Scry one. Lost Minor Fandelver.
Yeah, exactly.
The first room is the Scry one. Then he has the choice between creating a treasure token and a 1/1 red goblin. And then he gets to put a counter on a creature, drain the opponent for 1, or give target creature -4/-0. And then the last room is to draw a card.
And then there is No More Lies. Again, dealing with the commander. And I think there's also Drawn in the Lock in Atraxa's hand. So this is a hopeless situation already, I would say. Unless maybe the black player can draw some hand disruption. Could bring him back, but then again, like you're paying so much mana to cast Acererak once in this turn.
Cast Aererak once, and in this case, it's making either a treasure token or a 1/1 goblin, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's that is I think that is the big issue with this deck against linear combo decks that aren't going to interact much. You have these draws where you're gonna you go hand disruption into cast 2 combo pieces and cast Aererak and win the game.
Yeah.
Or stall for a while and then cast the combo pieces. That's all possible. And it's all very good. But when you play a bunch of creature removal and the opponent doesn't start playing creatures until Atraxa, which comes into play and draws you 5 cards, then you're usually in a pretty bad situation.
Yeah. And then there's not only counterspells, because we saw a couple of counterspells already, but you can obviously also destroy Aererak in response to the trigger.
Yep.
And that's what he did. So now he tapped 7 mana for it, which means it's very unlikely that he casts it next turn unless he draws a bulk offer, some ritual or whatever.
Yep. So he's basically looking for Wizard's Incubator. In order to keep comboing.
Yeah.
But it's possible, but it's pretty unlikely, right?
I think so too. The game is not looking good. There's a
there might have been a case to
rebirth being surveilled.
To mulligan for more hand disruption.
It's crazy if you look at all these Dimir and Azorius lands on Atraxa's side. They look so similar, right? Like these artworks.
Yes. Yeah, that is one downside of all these full arts.
Yeah.
They look pretty similar, both in artwork and in the border, which makes them pretty difficult to tell apart sometimes.
True. So Teferi bounced the relic, and there is a Sheoldred's Edict again. Very good against Teferi.
Yep.
But then again, there are so many. I don't know, actually not that many cards. But I think he's at 3, so he can also just cast Atraxa now. And maybe let his opponent resolve like 1 Aererak cast. I think that's okay. And with the counterspell in hand, and there's an Emrakul also. Oh, okay. That could be a thing later. Animate that, Emrakul, and counterspell. Not bad. And here we see a Dark Petition. Yeah.
Plays 7 creatures.
That's worth a counterspell.
Mhm.
So, how much mana do we have on board? 9 mana. There is land, instant, sorcery, and planeswalker in graveyard, right?
Yep.
At
So
least.
if you ever see your opponent kind of shuffling through their graveyard like that, looking very quickly at their cards, they're usually counting the amount of types they have
Yeah.
to check
You
either
know
if they
what's
have
coming.
Delirium or if they have Emrakul. And Atraxa does not play any cards that care about Delirium, so it's going to
Right.
be Emrakul.
Right. And that's probably sealing the deal here, I think, because you get to control the next turn and you can do all the shenanigans.
Yep.
That's a cool artwork, by the way.
And I mean, Atraxa does play. Acererak does play some removal for.
I can't
For
exactly
Emrakul.
tell what he did, but I assume that this was a tutor. This is the Grim Tutor, the new artwork. So he tutored for Toxic probably and just Toxic for 21.
Yeah, or
I
he
think,
could.
I think that's what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, that's probably the case. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting matchup, I have to say. Really, really cool to see that. So we will have Atraxa in the final against a second deck. I think it was Slimefoot. So very, very basic matchup, but also interesting to see. You know, like you don't see Emrakul every now and then in Atraxa lists, and the Slimefoot list had also a couple of individual
Some new
additions.
cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Some interesting stuff.
So this might be an interesting final.
Yeah. Definitely. My games with Slimefoot against Atraxa were tight. I
Very
ended up
close. Yeah.
losing them. I did win one game. It's a difficult matchup, but sometimes you manage to, sneak out a win here or there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Atraxa is definitely one of the stronger decks in the format. It does kind of suffer from the fact that it only gets to cast its commander very late, but that's how it is.
Yep.
Great. Thank you for watching, and
Thanks a lot.
see you next time.
See you over there. Bye bye.